Good morning, good morning, good morning, Rebecca.
Good
I love
morning.
your background.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you. This is probably one of my favorite things. I think I've said that a couple times. I have a couple favorite things out here. And it's one of those things that I really didn't know I needed. So it's it's been good.
You mean getting out in the country and being connected with nature?
You know that and it's just the away from the hustle and bustle and taking the time. I love sitting out here in the morning and watching the sun come up. Come out here this morning. It was about 5:30, so it was just starting to get light
Hmm.
and now the sun's coming up and I just guess I didn't realize how much maybe I needed this rest.
You need this. You need the country life.
I don't know. The bugs, I could do without the bugs. I'm not a bug person. Um, and there are a lot of bugs out here, but country life as in being able to come out here in the morning and just listening to the birds and I don't know,
Nature.
enjoying nature.
Get
I
aligned.
didn't
Get
like,
aligned with nature. Nature still needs the bugs. Needs everything to work. So you're just getting aligned with nature.
well, I don't know about aligned, but I am enjoying it.
Good. That's the main thing. I think it'll be good for you.
I do. I probably needed it more than I know. So,
You're made out of the dirt. You're made out of the soil. So yeah,
I
you're connecting
understand.
with nature. Yeah. But there
Yeah.
you go. All right, Rebecca, the subject for today.
Well, we've been, here again, all of this ties together, talking about the changes and the things that we need to do, but realizing that we need to show up for ourselves before we can show up for others.
Hmm.
We need to um, watch the things that we say to ourselves and not just to others. Um, it's very easy for me to tell other people the things that they need to do and the changes they need to make when I should just sit the mirror in front of me and repeat all of it because it's the same thing that I need to do for myself. And I think our self-talk is a big one, especially for me. My self-talk, I need to be careful what I say, you know, to myself. I think of Everly, our granddaughter. She listens and she hears us say things about ourselves, even joking, even the sarcastic joking things that we say about ourselves psychologically has a huge effect on us. And I think I believe it does more than we even realize.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're, even though you're joking, there's there's a place where it hits home, you know, and we never know how our jokes are going to hit someone, right? This has been a hard one for me because it's easy to pick fun at other people and to pick fun at weaknesses and this and that and the other, and it can be a huge negative. It can be a huge negative in somebody's life, and yeah, very very impactful.
Well, and even when talking to ourselves, where's the first place that we go? We do go to that negative space. We don't go to it's not, I guess it's kind of hard to be joking and sarcastic about positive things. I don't know. But that's the first place that we go. When I look at myself in the mirror, when I see, what do I see? You, I personally focus on the things that I want to change
Hmm.
and, you know, the blessings of the things that I have that I take for granted for every day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It so Rebecca, the topic that we have here, lead yourself before leading others. And that was some of what you had written in the email. So what do you mean by that?
well, just kind of like we said, speaking positive to ourselves, you know, one of the things, knowing that we've been put here on purpose for a purpose, um, and knowing that everybody's different, not one person is the same. I critique myself watching myself on this camera, and some of the things that I can change, some of the things I can't because it's just my face. It's just my face. I'm sorry. Well, I shouldn't say I'm sorry because it's just my face, but you know, doing something with my hair in the morning or changing a shirt out or those things I can change. And I guess in all reality, if I wanted to, I could go change my face, but I don't, that's not where I want to go. But this is, accepting that I am who I am. There are some things I can change and there are the things that I can't. And so being confident in who I am that's been a tough one for me. That's been a hard run.
I've seen some of these Hollywood actors and actresses change their face, and I think we'll just keep what you have. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, like I said, my beautiful, wonderful sister asked me one day if I was having a stroke because when I'm not smiling, I do have a droopy face, a droopy, I don't know how else to describe it, but it just tells me I need to smile more. But then I get the cheesy, "Okay, sure, I don't, So I am very critical of myself watching myself on here. Now, had I had somebody else doing a podcast and they got done and they're like, how'd that go? Oh, it was great. You did awesome. You looked great. And so speaking to ourselves, building that confidence, because you have to be confident before you can teach other people how to do it. Because not that you can't tell them how to be confident, not that you can say, hey, you need to build yourself up, you need to do this and that, but they're watching you when you're not seeing it. They're watching you how you respond to yourself.
That's right, because you're leading yourself first. That's what we're talking about. And it's one of those things, Rebecca, you'd mentioned confidence. The thing that I've found about confidence, you're never going to have it until you move, until you take action, until you get out there and go. Until you start moving towards a goal, until you start moving towards a purpose, you have no confidence. It doesn't exist. And the thing that you want to realize is that until you start the action, you'll never get traction, right? And until you start making mistakes and working through them and seeing the improvement, make the mistake, see the improvement, make the mistake, see the improvement. Until you start the process, you're not going to have confidence. It just doesn't happen. And the more you do it, the more you grow in competence. And the more you grow in competence, the more you grow in confidence. And you're going to start to see this happen. So, more than anything, it's a willingness to just go. It's a willingness to put yourself out there. It's a willingness to pick up the phone and call a stranger. It's a willingness to send an email, even though it may sound ridiculous. It's the willingness to pursue something when you know you're going to ruffle the feathers of an industry, a company, a person. It's the willingness to put yourself out there because that's where you start to improve. That's where the improvement comes from. That's where the confidence comes from. And sitting back trying to make everything perfect will never create confidence, ever. It just doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen until you get action.
Well, and we've got to take, at some point in time in our life, something happened to destroy your confidence,
Mm-hmm.
to, I don't know, maybe it was a teacher, a bully, a parent, you think about, I think back to when our kids were growing up, when they wanted to walk, when they started to walk, you know, and they were confident, but I'm over here going, "Oh, be careful. Oh, look out. Oh, don't hit that. Don't fall. Don't," trying to protect them from getting hurt. And so in essence, I think that kind of steals their confidence
Yeah.
of, "Oh, I can't get too close to that."
Yeah. I think my favorite story on confidence was Sir Ken Robinson. If you haven't watched his video, you need to go watch it because not only is it super powerful, but it's very very impactful. It'll get you to thinking, and I think it's called like just look it up, Sir Ken Robinson. He was from the UK, and I think the subject is schooling or education is destroying creativity. That was his subject. And one of the things he mentioned is that young people, kids, they have all the confidence in the world to put themselves out there. And his example was a little girl who was in her art class and she's drawing a picture. Everybody was supposed to draw a picture that day. And her teacher walks up and says, "What are you drawing?" And she says, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher looked at her and said, "Well, no one knows what God looks like." And she said, "Well, they will in a minute." And, that was one of those things. It's like, that's super confident that
Yeah.
she is able to do that. But you know what? Somebody will tear her down. Somebody will tear her down. Somebody will mock her. Somebody will ridicule her. And how she responds to that, how her parents help her respond to that, how her teachers help her respond to that, that grows, that keeps that confidence. But you know what? She took the action. She took the action. She didn't ask the permission. She didn't ask for it. She took the action because she had that confidence. And that's what we have to do. That's what you have to do, is put yourself out there and take the risk. And all too often, as adults, we've been told that risk, well, is risky. Don't do that. It's scary. Don't talk to strangers. And you're going to spend the whole rest of your entire adult life talking to strangers. But what do we teach kids? We teach fear. And we've got to be very, very, very careful that as adults, we know how to overcome that. We know how to get better and how to fix those issues that we have created in other people and in ourselves.
Well, and you look at like the industry that we're in with selling and things like that, and how many salespeople go out and they go to make a sale and it doesn't go through, and they go to make another sale and it doesn't happen, and they do that about 10 times and they're just not getting anywhere. And instead of evaluating and going, so why is this not working? What is happening? They'll be like, oh, I guess I'm just not good at this. I need to quit and do something different.
That's exactly what
And
happens.
there may be a time or two that's true, but instead of going, what should I change? What should I do differently? We tend to, "Oh, I'm just going to move on from this and go do something else."
Hmm.
And so you go do something else that maybe is, it's a confidence booster, but it's not really where you want to be.
Hmm.
So building, I mean, it takes a lot to build confidence. I really do. And it's funny because once you go out, say you go out and doing the next sale, but you do it differently after you've evaluated everything and kind of see where maybe the issue is lying, and you change that and you leave that sale because now you've either, even if you haven't sold anything, but you walk out of there going, wow,
I did that.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
I think of
Yep.
me going up and speaking, and there's times that I still, I get very nervous before I do it. And it's like, oh, what am I going to teach these guys that they don't already know? Or what am I going to help them with? What am I going to help them see? And leaving there just going, oh, that was awesome. That was great. I could probably do that again until the next time comes up and I'm like, oh, can I really do this again? Can I? So,
Yep. Yep. Well, and Rebecca, that's the core. That's the core of what we're talking about. It's the core of getting out there. You know, I'm going back to lead yourself before leading others. John Maxwell gets hit up a lot by people like, "Oh man, I want to do what you do. I want to go where you've gone and do the stuff that you do." And John will look right at him. He will look right at him and say, "No, you don't. You don't want that." And what do you mean I don't want that? Well, because you have to do what I've done to
yeah,
get where I've gotten, to go where I've gone. And that means you have to lead yourself well. And the
yeah,
hardest person you will ever lead is yourself. Leading other people is easy. Teaching them what to do is easy. But to lead yourself, that's a whole nother game. That's a whole nother challenge. And until you're ready to lead yourself at the highest level, in your company, if you're not, leading the sales, and if you're not the number one salesperson, you should be asking, just like you said, Rebecca, what should I be doing better? What should I be doing different? How do I grow this thing? How do I develop this? And you start putting all those things together. You know, if you don't, if you're not willing to lead yourself at that highest level first, why would you expect people to follow you? Really, why would you expect people to follow you long term? Never going to happen. And that's why it's that challenge of, hey, there's all sorts of things out here that you have to ask yourself about. Um, what Jeremy and I were actually talking here a while back about conferences, and this is no judgment in any way, shape, or form, and just we were talking about it from our own perspectives. And one of the things that we understood is when we go to a conference that you're paying a lot of money for, and you show up and you're there and you're learning from people, and you go out on it's Monday night or it's Wednesday night, and you go out and eat supper with everybody. The one thing that him and I agreed on for ourselves personally is you just don't go out drinking. That's not something that we want to do, because the next morning you're not ready for what you invested in. You're not ready for it. And that was, our personal opinions about it. Some people may not bother at all. That's totally fine. There's no judgment. But at the end of the day, that was one thing that him and I agreed on. If we're going to go to a conference, invest our time, our travel, the hotels, all the investment of that, we're going to go back in and be our best. We have to lead ourselves really, really well in those types of scenarios if we're going to be able to take the most out of it and make the most of it. And that was something that was pretty cool just to be able to talk about. It's how the choices that you make are going to impact the results that you get in
yeah.
everything in life. And, Rebecca, I've not always made great choices, and I've paid the consequences, and it's not been good. And those are the things that, we really need to think about, as we move all of this forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are things that, you know, until you are willing to choose well, you're not going to lead well.
Well, and And when you start doing that, it's almost like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely
You
is.
know, it's one of those things that, hey, I've accomplished this and what can I do next?
Mhm,
What's next on the agenda?
mhm.
And it kind of is an adrenaline rush. Now, if you, um, so for me, like on speaking, I kind of, I guess wait too long in between speaking things. So then in that space, my head starts getting into it again that well, is this really so I need to work on that, getting more speaking things and keep it going and because you start if you wait too long, I guess, between doing things, your head gets in your way. So,
Yeah,
you know, we've talked many times, what's our biggest roadblock? Ourselves.
yep. Every
So,
time. Every time.
yep.
You are your biggest barrier. You're your biggest competitor. You are your biggest challenge. Um, this is why, we talk about personal growth. We talk about personal development. We talk about these things. In fact, everybody seems to want more. They want more on the outside. They want more money. They want more opportunity. They want more of this. They want more of that. I've never seen anybody, you don't walk up and say, hey, here's $100 bill, that they wouldn't take it, right? Because everybody wants more of something. And at the end of the day, though, here's what it boils down to. If you're not bigger on the inside than you are on the outside, you got a problem. You have to be growing in here. This is again leading yourself well. If you want more of what is out there, you have to get more in here first. Otherwise, you're going to get an opportunity and you're not going to know what to do with it. You're going to mess it up. You're going to lose it. You're going to completely blow it. This development in here is critical. Let me give you an example. When we first started teaching this many, many years ago, I had a sales rep come up to me and I called him, just called him out of the blue, said, hey, it's been about 3 weeks since we went to training. What are you working on right now? Oh, he says, I've got all of our product guides here in the office. I'm going through all these product guides, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, I know this stuff inside and out, upside down. I know everything about our products. Like, okay, so how's that helping you? Oh, there's no question that I can't answer. And he just went out and did that. I said, well, I'm really curious to hear how it works. So he went out and calls me about 6 weeks later and says, hey, this stuff really doesn't work. This isn't working at all. I've learned all this stuff. And I said, well, share with me how you're going about it. And he shared with me his whole process. And everything was about the product. Everything was about push, push, push. It was try to get people to listen to how good he was and how good his product was. And I said, look, man, I hate to disappoint you, but that learning is not personal development. That is not personal growth. I said, you need to get into a book on communication, get into a book on how to negotiate, get into a book on how to connect with people, get into a book on building relationships. I said, get into a personal growth plan that allows you to know how to ask questions and make those connections. Until you start that, all this other stuff is just a complete waste of time. And from that moment forward, all of our training, we talked about two different things. If you're going to study a product for 1 hour, take 2 hours and study how to work with people. That's personal growth. For every 1 hour you study product, spend 2 hours studying people. That's personal development. Because until people are the ones that are not buying from you, the ones that are not working with you, it's going to be people that you're leading, nobody else. It's people. And when you stop leading people, you stop leading yourself, you stop taking advantage of opportunity, you stop taking on new things until you completely stop, which as far as I know is when you die. That's when you can stop doing personal development, personal growth. because otherwise you're looking for opportunity. But if you're not ready for it, you're going to miss it. If you're not ready for it, somebody else is going to take it. If you're not ready for it, you'll destroy it after you get it. You have to prepare for opportunity before it happens. And that's why this personal development thing that there's people out here that mock this stuff. And it's like, okay, keep mocking, make a mockery of it. Don't do it. Oh, I don't know how to read. I just can't read a book. Yeah, you can. If you can read a Facebook post, you can read a book. If you can read a meme, you could read a book, but you choose not to.
Right.
And and those are the things that people don't understand. It's like, man, until you step in and are willing to grow this on the inside and get bigger in here, all this bigness you want out there, never going to happen.
Yep.
Never going to happen. That is leading yourself well.
Yep. So step one is going to be watch what you say about yourself.
Absolutely.
That is a huge thing. And when you say you can't, you just turn it around and say, how can I?
How can I? Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yep. And that's such a major part. When you look at even asking yourself, can I do this? Right? Just throw the extra letter, the word at the front of it. The most powerful 3-letter word, I've said this before. How? How can I do this? And your mind starts opening up new doors of opportunity. When you say, can I do this? It's yes or no.
yeah.
And you're dead in the water. But when you say, how can I do this? Next thing you know, all these new things start to pop into your mind. New things come up, and you're like, wow, how amazing was that? How can I do this? Will change everything for you.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all
All
right.
right.
Well, it's been amazing, Rebecca, as always. Thank you so much for bringing the topic to us and for putting this in front of us. I think we've had a great discussion here. We're a little bit out of time, so we don't have time to invite others in. But I do want to just encourage everybody as you're going through the summer, as you're thinking about vacation, or maybe you're on vacation or going to be taking a vacation, take the time to really enjoy it. Take the time to invest in yourself, get that R&R that you really need. But when you come back, be willing to take on the hard job of leading yourself well. Take on that task of leading yourself well. Because until you do, you're going to be missing so many things in life. And this world is so full of opportunity right now. It's so full of potential. And I just want you to be able to take it. I want you to be able to start living, to the potential that God created you for. You're made on purpose for a purpose. Live out that purpose to the fullest. And Rebecca, I just so much appreciate you putting these topics together each week. And you do a lot of work in getting emails out and getting all this stuff put together. So I just really appreciate you, doing this, and you're leading yourself well. We're here every Monday. Every Monday at 6:30, we have something ready to go. And I just appreciate all that you're doing to make this happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
All right, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next Monday.
God bless.